Good evening, everyone. I hope it is all going well. This is your nightly episode of Brays News Recap. This is episode 4, Fantastic Four, for the quick little reference for anyone who gets it. Um, yeah, I hope all of you had a wonderful day. Today was St. Patrick's Day, so I hope all of you guys celebrated. I myself am very Irish, so it's a cultural holiday for me, I guess you would say. I had a shamrock shake to celebrate, which isn't very Irish, but every year I get a shamrock shake on St. Patrick's Day. So, it's a little tradition for myself personally. With that being said, we have a lot of news to cover for the most part, not as much as we've had previously, but there's some good news. So yeah, let's get started. Today, for the Trump administration, Trump said he's invalidating Biden's pardons. A judge demanded answers from the Trump administration on the deportations, and the Trump administration is considering recognizing Crimea as Russian territory. Let's get started with the first topic. Trump says he's invalidating Biden's pardons. President Trump claimed without evidence that Biden's pardons are invalid because then President Joe Biden did not use a real pen. Trump wrote on a Truth Social post, "The pardons that Sleepy Joe Biden gave to the unselected committee of political thugs and others are hereby declared void, vacant, and of no further force or effect because of the fact that they were done by auto pen." Trump went on to allege that Biden didn't know about his pardons or approve them, and that therefore all committee members would be subject to investigation at the highest level. This is a stupid claim, as many presidents have used the auto pen going all the way back to Thomas Jefferson's presidency. Claiming Biden's pardon means nothing claims that thousands of orders signed by presidents means nothing. Trump cannot leave Biden alone. Every day it seems like he has to make a statement targeting the man because, I don't know, maybe his ego's hurt. I genuinely do feel like Trump's ego is hurt by losing the election to Biden. I mean, he can't shut up about him. It's crazy. I don't I feel like when Biden became president, I don't think he mentioned Trump very often to very much at all. And I feel like Trump has mentioned him every day for the past 3 months at this point, and it's something else, the world we live in, man. Today, Judge Boasberg demanded answers from the Trump administration. A federal judge today questioned if Trump had the authority to ignore his orders and not turn around the plane carrying deportees to El Salvador, which was a violation of the order issued by District Judge James E. Boasberg, who was shocked by the administration seemingly ignoring his order to turn around the planes. The Trump administration claimed the plane didn't return because it was in international skies. Boasberg replied, That's one heck of a stretch, I think," going on to say, "I'm just asking, how do you think my equitable powers do not attach to a plane that has departed from the U.S., even if it is in international airspace?" I agree with the judge. Any plane that is related to the United States should fall under United States judge legal authority. The Trump administration has broken another law by doing what they did, and they should be prosecuted for it, just as they should be prosecuted for the hundreds of other laws they have committed during the Trump administration so far. Unfortunately, it seems like they won't be because, every judge who tries to stick up to Trump is not listened to, essentially. Today, the Trump administration said they were considering recognizing Crimea as a Russian territory. Trump administration is considering recognizing Crimea as a Russian territory rather than Ukrainian as an agreement to end the war in Ukraine. Administration officials discussed the possibility of having the U.S. urge the United States or the United Nations to do the same. Trump has not formally made a decision to declare Crimea as Russian territory, but it is being floated around as an option to end the war. The White House has declined to make any current statement on the situation. This is a sad thing to hear, as it is essentially handing Russia something that they want, appeasing Putin, something we all know historically does not work well. Appeasing countries' leaders only lead to them doing more damage to the countries that they invade. We learned this with World War II with Hitler and Germany. Both Trump and Putin need to be stopped, and hopefully they will be. Unfortunately, in the current economic and political state of the world, just a little Jaden Smith quote, but um, it seems like they won't be. Um, Moving on, today we are now going into the Europe segment, a segment that I provide to you with news from countries not just in the United States. This news is helped brought to me by European connections that I have across Europe. So, with that being said, let's get started. Today, a German state announced they want to prepare hospitals for war. Bavaria, a federal state in Germany, has announced it will prepare hospitals for war. Bavaria's Minister of Health, Judith Gerlach, is calling for a nationwide program to prepare medical care for possible war. She told Augsburg Allgemeine newspaper, "The military threat to Europe from Russia is and the U.S. President Trump's possible departure from a security partnership also means a massive need for action for German healthcare system and civil society as a whole." She would go on to say, not only the Bundeswehr, the German armed forces, but the entire civilian sector must quickly prepare for an emergency. This is some big news coming out of Germany. Countries across Europe have begun preparations for a possible war, and it seems like this is the start of Germany's preparations. Hopefully, we can avoid a conflict like World War III, but every day it comes to look more closer that it's going to be unavoidable, unfortunately. Today, Hungary's government drafted a law that threatens a ban on pride parades. Hungary's current leadership, the Fidesz party, wants to put an end to the LGBTQ pride parade in Budapest. This recently drafted law proposing participants and organizers would face fines and police registration for the parade. In addition, the police would use facial recognition technology to identify the participants in the event. Hungarian media speculates the maximum amount of a fine being €500 for anyone who attended the event. The organizers described the Fidesz's party actions as restrictions to the right of freedom of expression and assembly. In an email to Reuters, they said they would hold a pride parade anyways, saying it was now more necessary than ever. The mayor of Budapest, Gerli Kaskaroni, wrote in a Facebook post that the parade would take place and possibly be even larger than it ever was before. The parade has taken place for 3 decades. The draft will likely be passed, and the government used child protection as justification for it. I am very aware that many countries in Europe have limited rights on members of the LGBTQ community, which is very sad. But to fine people for attending a parade is honestly crazy. I'm tired of hearing child protection used as an argument against members of the LGBTQ community. It's a sick argument that makes all of us seem like horrible people, and it puts us under the umbrella of predators when when a majority of us are mostly nothing of the sort. Children should be able to understand that it's okay for people to be gay, trans, or whatever they want, and and because oh my gosh, I just stuttered so hard, and I was on a roll this whole thing. Let me slow down. Sorry, everyone. Children should be able to understand that it is okay for people to be gay, trans, or whatever they want to be, because a world where we are attacked by other individuals based on false claims is a dangerous one, and it can be very dangerous to not only us, but people around the world. I mean, false claims are really a destruction factor in a majority of people's lives and do lead to the destruction of a lot of people's lives, which is a large issue in not only the United States, but across the world. Today, the French president met with the new Prime Minister of Canada. New Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, has met with the French President Emmanuel Macron to discuss the country's partnership and support for Ukraine during a news conference. Carney described Canada as the most European nation of non-European countries. Macron's described both nations as peace powers, and he vowed to protect Ukraine from Russian aggression. Carney said, "I want to ensure that France and the whole of Europe works enthusiastically with Canada, the most European of non-European nations, at and at the same time resolutely North American, determined like you to maintain the positive relationship with the United States." I hate reading quotes. I always mess it up. It's so sad that our allies have to do everything they're doing just because of one president that has destroyed hundreds of years of economic policy. Trump needs to be impeached along with Elon and the rest of his administration, as it is not okay what they have been able to do, and it is very clear that their job is not working out and it is not serving as a benefit to nor the American people or anyone else in the world. Moving on to our other news segment, normally the largest section in everything. The topics we have to cover here are the Veterans March. A wife of a husband who voted for Trump is now in an ICE center. A Seattle man was declared dead by the government when he was very much still alive. Trump plans to release the JFK files tomorrow. And trapped Antarctic scientists begged for rescue after another teammate threatened to kill the colleagues. For the Veterans March, on Friday, veterans marched in Washington, D.C., a protest which has not been publicized by mainstream media. Veterans peacefully marched to protest the Trump administration's proposed cuts to Social Security, federal job losses, the January 6th pardon, and reductions in veteran health care and services. Promotional posters for the protest quote General Mark Miley, who said, "We don't take oaths to a king. When someone joins the armed services, they are required to take an oath of office and swear to protect the U.S. Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic." The participants of the march say it is their responsibility to speak out against what they perceive as unconstitutional actions by the Trump administration. Thank you to all veterans and current service members. Your service protecting the Constitution is very much appreciated. Thank you to everyone who marched in this event, and it is very sad that mainstream media refuses to cover the situation. I'm bringing you the report, and I would appreciate it if you would please share it out with your friends and family. There is a full length of the article on my page that you are able to restack, as these veterans' voices deserve to be heard, and people should be talking about the situation. Today, the wife of a husband who voted for Trump is now in an ICE center. The wife of a Wisconsin man who voted for Trump was detained by immigration agents back on their flight back from their honeymoon. Bradley Bartell and Camila Munoz, I'm so sorry, met several years ago in Wisconsin and were stopped on their way home from their Puerto Rico honeymoon when Munoz was detained by ICE. She was detained in February and is currently being held in a privately ran detention center in Louisiana with nearly 80 other women. She appeared in the detention system a week after being detained, and according to her husband, they keep in touch with 20-cent a minute phone calls. Munoz is not a citizen, but the couple has taken moves to make sure she becomes one. During the pandemic, Munoz overstayed her visa because she was unable to get a flight to her home country of Peru due to the COVID-19 issue. I don't understand why Trump supporters think if they vote for Trump and support him that his laws won't affect them, but that's not how it works, and it's a clear sign of how bad our education system is at teaching people on how the government works. I hope Camelia Munoz is able to return to her husband, and I hope they learned that Trump isn't the man that he tells MAGA he is. It's very sad that Trump took advantage of one of the most uneducated groups in the United States, and it's very clear that that's a problem that needs to be changed ASAP after the previous election where Trump won. A Seattle man was declared dead by the government when he is very much still alive. According to the Seattle Times, a Seattle man was trying to has been trying to reclaim back his welfare benefits after he was declared dead by the Social Security Administration. Ned Johnson's an 82-year-old Seattle man first learned from his death from his wife Pam when she received a letter from their bank offering condolences and notifying that the Social Security Administration had requested a return for Social Security payments. Newsweek requested a response from the Social Security Administration, and they pointed to a statement where they said errors like this happened to Mr. Johnson. Errors like what happened to Mr. Johnson happen less than 1% of the time. More than 1% of 3 million deaths are falsely reported um, by the Social Security Administration. The letter in the letter from the bank said it had already deducted $5,201 from their accounts for Social Security. Johnson's Medicare cover was also canceled, and his credit score was marked as deceased. Do not issue credit. This is a sad situation to hear, and it could have been way worse if it wasn't caught very soon. Although there is a lack of government assistance in these issues, hopefully he will be assisted and is able to get back on Social Security and the other programs that he is needing to be on. I do believe I heard about a similar situation a couple years back, so I'm pretty sure this isn't a Trump administration specific issue, but I really do hope that if this is more of a common issue than it should be, that we are actively working to find a solution because people shouldn't be taken off of Social Security for a mistake like them falsely being reported dead, especially if they're still alive and actively need those benefits. Tomorrow, Trump plans to release the JFK files. Trump has ordered a release of the documents related to the 1963 assassination of President John F. Kennedy. His administration plans to release the 80,000-page file on Tuesday. Trump told reporters at the Kennedy Center today, "People have been waiting for decades for this. It's going to be very interesting." He would go on to say about the pages, "You gotta do a lot of reading. I don't believe we're going to redact anything." I said, "Just don't redact anything you can't redact." This was a promise made by Trump during his campaign, and it seems to be coming true. Congress passed legislation in 1992 requiring the government records about John F. Kennedy to be released by October 2017 unless they pose risks to national defense or national intelligence. Both Trump and Biden previously issued extensions to keep the information private. I have a strong feeling that this will likely be filled with redacted information, but if it doesn't, I'll post a recap on the files. I can't promise I'll read all 80,000 pages, as that is an absurd amount of things to read, but I can promise you that I will try my best to report an accurate recap on what the pages discuss and the information of the JFK files. For the final topic of today, a trapped Antarctic scientist begged for rescue after another teammate threatened to kill his colleagues. A South African research group at the Sane IV base has pleaded to be rescued after claiming a colleague threatened to kill another member of the team. The group also accused the same person of sexually assaulting another researcher. The crew has been isolated on their research mission for 10 months now, as harsh weather conditions have made leaving and entering entirely impossible. A researcher would send an email to their home base accusing a scientist and a 10-member crew of attacking the group and threatening them multiple times, according to South African Saturday Times. The, dis- the the desperate email said, regrettably, his behavior has escalated to a point that is deeply disturbing, adding, specifically, he physically assaulted a name withheld, which is a grave violation of personal safety and workplace norms. Furthermore, he threatened to kill another name withheld, creating an environment of fear and intimidation. I hope these researchers are able to find a way home because this could be a very bad situation if it is not handled as soon as possible. I know the weather conditions, as stated, are very bad and it makes them hard for them to get home, but hopefully they're able to figure out a way to get themselves out of what could be a very dangerous situation. With that being said, thank you everyone for watching this episode of Brays News Recap. This was episode 4. I hope all of you enjoyed, whether you're on Substack, whether you're on YouTube, or whether you're on any other platform finding this information. Please feel free to drop a subscription and check out my other social media platforms. I am on all of I'm on Blue Sky, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Substack. I'm on everything for the most part, except Twitter, because Twitter sucks booty cheeks. Yeah, with that being said, I hope all of you have a wonderful night, and I will see you all tomorrow with another news recap episode. Later, guys.